Hi, I'm Sarah Mueller from Early Bird Mom, and today I want to talk to you about the art of organizing using free and nearly free containers. Now before you start organizing, I think you should always take a look at what you have to do and see if there's something that you can get rid of. You should always be organizing with an eye towards decluttering, because the less you have to organize, the easier it is to do, and just the easier it is to take care of. Now, my first go-to place with organizing things is food containers. Okay, so I've got a collection of things here that I want to show you. The first one being this jar here. This jar used to hold coconut oil. So I cleaned it out when we were done with it, and now it holds lentils that my 3-year-old uses to dig around in. He uses this for playtime with little trucks and shovels and things like that. And it closes up. It's the perfect size. And it's got a screw top lid, so that makes it, nothing falls out accidentally. I've got another one here. This one has some letters in it, so we can take these out and use them for spelling practice, things like that, and we're all done. We just dump it right back in there and close up the top. So I like using these kind of containers because they show you what's inside. If the contents are somewhat attractive, it makes for a nice presentation, and they just really have a nice look to them. So those were totally free. Another thing that I like to use a lot around the house is glass jars. So I have a collection of different glass jars that I collected over time. This one I think we got for 25 cents at a yard sale. And this one's a kind of a neat vintage look. And I use it to store laundry soap. So I just have a scoop here that I leave right in the jar all the time, leave the top off of it, and it sits on the shelf in the laundry room, and it looks a lot nicer than the plastic bag that the soap came in, and it's just a nice little extra touch to keep the soap at hand. So again, that was like 25 cents. This is a jar full of spoons, and we keep this one right next to the coffee pot. So in the morning when we're ready to pour some coffee, the spoons are right there and they're ready to go. And it's just kind of an extra little touch. It's not a big deal to walk over and grab a spoon out of the drawer, but it's nice to have them close by, so it does make things a little bit more convenient. And that's just an old jar, jelly jar, maybe something like that. Here's another jar. We just drop some pens and pencils in there, and we keep this on the shelf. I think I have a jar like this in about 4 rooms of the house, just so that if I need a pen, I can go grab one real quick. It's real convenient. This jar has loose tea in it. This is peppermint tea. And I actually just grabbed the label off of the bag that this came in, and it sticks right to the jar. So everybody knows what's in it, and keeps the tea fresh, and we can have this in the cupboard, and then I just refill it as needed. Another, again, just a simple jar, but it looks a lot nicer than a plastic bag. Let's see, I've got another jar here, a lot of jars. Another jar, this one is just the perfect size to hold the smaller mason jar rings. And I discovered that, so they just all fit right in there, and it's real handy just to have them instead of having them falling all over the shelf with the jars. They all fit right in there. This is a little bucket that you can get these kind of things. I think they have them at Target a lot of the time, or the dollar store, and I love this little size. They're usually real colorful, and usually not more than $1, and those are fantastic for things like more pens and pencils, or maybe little toys, office supplies, just different things like that. This kind of thing can be really colorful, fun way to to corral something that you might need to organize. Another great place to look for organizing containers would be Tupperware. So this was a container that we had that the top got lost. I think it wasn't working very well. It was getting old, but I kept the bottom, and now I have all my essential oils in there. So I have all my collection in there, and I can peek in and see exactly what I need. I don't really need the top, and it's real convenient for them. And if anything spills, it just goes right down to the bottom, and it's an easy cleanup. This kind of thing, I did put a label on the front, but this kind of a container is going to go behind a cupboard door for me, so I don't really care so much how it looks, because no one's going to see it for most of the time. So I don't worry too much about making a container or making something look pretty if it's going to be behind a closed door. It doesn't really matter to me. So not every container that you use has to look perfect and fancy. Let's see, this is another basket that I had, and baskets are something that you can just find by the piles at thrift stores or garage sales, and people are selling them for nothing, basically. I mean, if you bought this basket in the store, you'd probably pay, I don't know, $5 or $10 maybe. But if you go to a yard sale, you can probably get it for a quarter, maybe, if that. And I just discovered that this basket fits perfectly in one of my kitchen cabinets. So I have all of my spices in here. I've got, bigger bags of spices and then smaller spice jars. And I love this system because when I'm looking for a particular spice, if I'm cooking something, I'll just bring out the whole basket and then I can kind of peek around and find exactly which spice I'm looking for, and then I use it, and then I can put the whole thing back instead of having to dig around the cupboard or look through Lazy Susan and kind of hunt and peck for what I need. It makes it really convenient to bring things to the counter. So that's a really helpful thing to do if you have things grouped together and then you can bring them to where you're working. It just saves some time. And then also this kind of thing is nice because when you're cleaning out the cupboard, all you have to do is take the whole basket out and then you can wipe out the cupboard, and then you can just put it right back in there, and it's not a big chore to wipe out that cupboard. So that's another thing to think about. I also have this bucket here. This is like a dollar store kind of bucket, colorful, cute, plastic, and I've got some outdoor toys in here, so we've got balls and things like that. So this is kind of a fun way to corral some of the outdoor stuff, and you could probably stick a nice piece of masking tape or painter's tape on there and label it if you wanted, but it keeps things together and easy for the kids to pick up. This is another little tray that I use. This was, I think, again, another thrift store find, something like that, and I just have fruit on it, so it keeps things together. They don't fall off the counter, and it just makes a little bit of a nicer presentation, but it didn't cost a lot. So this is a good way to corral some kinds of things. Let's see, a couple other things I have. Coffee cans are great for organizing if you've got little tiny toys, if you have kids who have those little ponies or little tiny Matchbox cars. A coffee can would be a great way to just keep those all together, and if you wanted to, you could maybe spray paint it really quick, or cover it with some paper if you wanted to dress it up a little bit, and maybe a nice label across the front. But if it's going behind a cupboard door, then I would say just stick a label on it real quick, maybe just write it on the top with a white marker, and you're done, and you've got it all cleaned up. I've also got these kinds of things. We get this a lot if you go to some kind of convention, or maybe your soccer team is handing out bags. These seem to be just thrown at you at different places, and so I use this one to hold sand toys. So I've got some sand toys in here, and this is super convenient because when we head out to the sandbox or to the beach, we'll just grab the bag and it's all ready to go. And it can even hang on a hook in the garage if you want, and it just keeps everything together, and it's totally free. So that is very handy. Just a couple quick things more. This is a larger basket that I use for holding toys. So when we're having homeschool time in the mornings, my 3-year-old has, I think he has 2 of these upstairs in our homeschool room. So basically he pretty much dumps these out, and it's got blocks, it's got little people and cars and fire trucks and things like that. So he can just dump the whole thing out, build his blocks, play with his cars, and then when he's done, he's able to clean the whole thing back up. There's no sorting involved. He doesn't have to, arrange things. He just dumps it back in, and he can put it back on the shelf. And it's not too big of a quantity of toys for him to put away all by himself, and it doesn't make a gigantic mess when he dumps it out. So this is a handy size, and really anything, if you go shopping looking for something like this, or you're at a thrift store, just look for a larger basket, or maybe hunt around in your basement, see if you have something that's a little bit bigger that would store a quantity of toys. and that could be a good solution for you there. Let's see. And the last thing I wanted to mention was this kind of an idea. I use this right now as a mobile office. So I've got this old tote bag, and if I get a chance to leave the house, I just drop my laptop in here, and I've got a couple notebooks and some pens and things like that. And this contains everything I would need to do a little computer work out of the house. So it's all together. Looks pretty nice, I guess. And but most importantly, it's just convenient for me. So I hope that I've given you some ideas here about how to organize using, the free containers. It doesn't always have to look perfect. It doesn't have to be beautiful. I think more importantly is that it's useful and it makes your life easier. And then if you do decide to go the extra mile and make something look nice, then that's a bonus. But I think when you're organizing, if your main goal is to make things more convenient and easier for you, then that's really where you should put your focus. I mean, who has time for all the other stuff that goes into things, just the extra Pinterest time that people spend on things. I just don't have time for that. So I encourage you to not worry too much about that and just go for a function, and maybe you'll end up with a nice look as an extra bonus. So if you have liked these tips, and if you'd like more information and more ideas about how to get things done at home, I invite you to visit our website at www.earlybirdmom.com. Thanks so much for watching.